Okay, so let's check my homework page for lesson 2 in chapter 3, which is estimate differences. All right, let's look at number 1. Round each number to the indicated place value, and then we're going to subtract. This wants us to round to the nearest tens, 816. Let's look at the ones. Okay, 6 is higher than 5, so we're going to round up to 820. 708. Rounded to the nearest 10 is 710. 820 minus 710 is 110. All right, let's look at number 2. 466 minus 152, and it says round to the nearest 100. 466 rounded to the nearest 100 rounds up to 500. And 152 rounded to the nearest 100 rounds up to 200. And 500 minus 200 is 300. Now let's look at number 3. 537 minus 288 and round to the nearest hundreds. So 537 rounds down to 500. And 288 rounds up to 300. 500 minus 300 equals 200. Now let's look at number 4. 9,531 minus 1,428, and we have to round to the nearest 10. All right, so when we're rounding to the nearest 10, we look at the ones column. So we know the thousands and the hundreds is going to stay the same. And if there's a 1 in the ones column, we know that we're going to round down to 9,530. And 1,428 rounded to the nearest 10, well, look in the ones column. Now the 1,000 and the 400 stays the same. Now the 8 in the ones column tells us to round up to 1,430. All right, and now we subtract. Look at the ones column first. 0 minus 0 is 0, so our ones is 0. 3 minus 3, well, that's 0. Now look at the hundreds. 5 minus 4 is 1. And then 9 minus 1 is 8. Now let's turn to the next page to 144. And we are going to estimate. Round each number to the nearest 10 and nearest 100. All right, so 3,677 rounded to the nearest 10 is 3,680 minus, okay, so 2,232 rounded to the nearest 10 is 2,230. And now we subtract. Excuse me. 0 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 3 is 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Now to the nearest 100. All right, 3,677 rounded to the nearest 100 is 3,700. 2,232 rounded to the nearest 100 is 2,200. And now we subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 2 is 5. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Next problem, number 6. 573 minus 441. Round to the nearest 10 first, and then subtract. 573, rounds down to 570, and 441 rounds down to 440. and subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 4 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now let's round to these numbers to the nearest hundred for this column. 573 rounds up to 600. 441 rounds down to 400. And now we subtract. And 6 minus 4 is 200. All right, number 7. 1,885 minus 483. Well, 1,885 rounded to the nearest 10 is 1,890 minus 480. Rounded to the nearest 10, of course. And 0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 8 is 1. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then this 1 is really subtracting minus 0, and that's 1. Don't forget your comma in between the thousands and hundreds. And then finally, all right, 1,885 rounded to the nearest 10 is 1,900 minus 483 rounds to 500. And now subtract. All right, these subtracted are 0. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 1 minus 0 is 1. All right, so now we're ready for Brain Builders. It says Shannon's Scout Troop sold 2,357 boxes of cookies. They started with 3,600 boxes. To the nearest 100, about how many boxes of cookies do they have left to sell? Write a number model to support your answer. All right, so what we're really going to need to do is round this number to the nearest 100 because it says nearest 100. So, all right. So I'm going to do the math over here just so that I know the first answer first. About how many boxes of cookies do they have left to sell? Well, we need to subtract this to the nearest 100 from 3,600. So 2,357 rounds to 2,400 to the nearest 100. So now we subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Oh, so that means how many do they have left to sell? About 1,200 boxes. Labels are important in word problems. Then it says, write a number model to support your answer. And then that's where we just take this that we did over here on the side, okay, and 3,600 minus 2,400 equals 1,200. And that's all they're asking you to do when they say write a number model. Okay, and then number 9, processes and practices. Use number sense. Clearview Stadium sold 8,371 bags of peanuts last weekend. Capitol Stadium sold 4,309 bags of peanuts last weekend. Which stadium sold more bags of peanuts? To the nearest 10, about how many more bags were sold? Well, we can see just by looking at the numbers that Clearview Stadium sold more peanuts. Clearview Stadium is what you need to write here, okay? That's the first answer to which stadium sold more bags of peanuts. Clearview Stadium. Now let's answer the second question. To the nearest 10, about how many more bags were sold? That's where over here on the side, you're going to have to do a little bit of math. To the nearest 10, we're going to round. 8,371 rounds to 8,370. And 4,309 to the nearest 10 rounds to 4,310. And now we subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 1 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 8 minus 4 is 4. So, to answer this question, the second question about how many more bags were sold, about 4,060 more bags. And that is how we answer that one, okay? And number 10, last problem. Test practice. Which shows the estimated difference for 8,859 minus 3,591 to the nearest hundred? Well, what we have to do first is round these two numbers to the nearest hundred and then subtract. Then we'll know which number to bubble, which answer to bubble. All right. So 8,859 rounded to the nearest hundred is 8,900. And we're subtracting 3,591 rounded to the nearest hundred is 3,600. And so we subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. And 8 minus 3 is 5. Therefore, we know that the correct answer is C, 5,300. But you should have done the work for the problem. You don't just guess. When it says test practice, it's giving you practice choosing multiple choice answers. But you still have to do the work on the side. Okay, so those are the answers to the homework page that was your math work today.